All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some formulas, right? We've been looking at rules, which is like a formula. We're going to look at several different rules, or these are equations, and we're going to plug in information and then answer questions. Because you need to remember that we're going to have to answer questions as well as finding a rule. So for example, say you had a rule, very simple rule, for a linear pattern. You're going to have to evaluate it. And sometimes you're going to know the n. Oh, sorry. Thank you, guys. All right. Sometimes you're going to know the n, but sometimes you're going to know the t. And you're going to have to go back and forth and solve, and you're going to have to know the difference between which one, right? So let's say that I was talking about the number of people, right, who went through a doorway. Yeah? So the order in which they went through the doorway would be your n, and the number of people that went through the doorway would be your t, right? So think in terms of the order, okay, or the sequence is the n, and the result would be the t. Okay, and we're going to be looking at several different of these. They're not really linear patterns, but they follow the same format. We're going to know one of the values. We can substitute it in and then solve to find the other. Okay, so let's look at some examples of these. Let's see if this is the one I want. Okay. Yeah. And again, these are not strictly the patterns that I want, but it's the same work. So here we go. The cost to hire a sports car is $140 per day plus $1.20 for each kilometer traveled. This can be represented by the expression cost minus 140D plus 12K. All right. Now this cost equals. So this one's slightly different, but it's the same. It involves the same skills you're going to need in order to be able to do these. How much would a person pay to hire a sports car for 3 days and travel a total of 850 kilometers? So all you're going to do is simply replace the right letter with the right information. So it says, how much would you pay? So the thing we do not know is cost. So cost stays cost. Cost equals, that's an equal symbol there, by the way, equals 140 times the number of days. How many days? 3 days. There you go. Okay. Plus 1.2 times how many kilometers? 850. Oops, sorry. Don't know where that decimal came from. And all you would need to do is do the math and complete the problem. So C equals, what's 140 times 3? Somebody? Excellent. Good. Is that right? Okay. I'll bite.
No, it's
420. Yeah, it looked a little big. It's all right. So, 420.
420.
Right? Don't start. Plus, what's 1.2 times 850? And remember, you will have a calculator on this test, so you can use them now.
Nice. What am I supposed to write? Did just do 12 times 85. 1,020.
Sorry?
1,020.
1,020?
Yes.
And the decimal's gone? Okay. All right. Now then, what's left to do?
Addition.
Simply add those together. Gives me a cost of what?
1,440.
Okay. And again, we're talking about units of dollars, so you would need to put in your units. If it was days, if it was hours, whatever, make sure you put in your units to answer the question properly. Yes?
Is that 850?
Yes, because it was 850 kilometers. Okay? Yes?
In the test, are they going to give us like the written problem? Are they going to give us the written problem?
Yes.
Are they
Well, actually, no. You're going to have to do so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find the rule, and then they're going to ask you questions about the rule. So let's just look at something where we're doing that. So let's say that we have a linear pattern. Okay. Okay. So we have a linear pattern. First of all, how do I know if it's linear? What's the test for it? Try to do the common differences, right?
100.
Yeah, and you can see that this one is. I picked an easy pattern.
Like it's extremely.
So we have a common difference of 100, yes? Okay. So that's t equals 100n. And now we have to see if it's a plus or a minus. Since it's a positive 100, we just subtract it from our first one. So that's going to be positive 200.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just remember, these two numbers have to add up to give you your first one, always. Okay. Now, what if I told you, okay, that I wanted to know the fifth, oh, no, don't do that. The 21st number.
It's numbers, so it's in.
I've got speech.
Okay, the 21st number. So what is that, my n value or my t value? N. Go. Figure it out. The 21st number.
Do we need to write it out fully and everything?
Yes, you do.
What's the date today? 18th.
We have to do 100 times 21 plus 10.
Good job,
Is
Claudia.
that right? Okay, so 100 times 21, isn't that 21? Ha!
30 seconds more.
I'm writing tables.
Come on.
Do we have to write tables?
No, 1 minute.
Wasn't it 30 seconds just before?
Wow.
Yes. You can hear it.
Shh. I can hear it and I don't want to.
Yeah, but you don't have to talk to us. And you haven't told anything.
Shh. No talking. Okay, so let's find a volunteer. Go and say that.
This person here.
Sonari's not here, right? Caitlin, it's you. All right, Caitlin. So all I want you to do is tell me if n is if it's the 21st number. That means I'm going to replace n with what number? No, hold on. I don't want the answer. Answer my question. Hold on. If n is the 21st number, that means I just put the 21 in place of n. So what's the first step in solving it?
Solving it. Find the 21st number.
What do I have to do first? The order of operations tells me I have to take care of what first?
Don't you have to times 21 by 100?
There you go. And what do I get when I do that?
What, 2,000 and
100.
21,000.
2,100. How's that? 2,100 or 2,100. Okay? All right, good job. Calf, then the only next thing I have to do is simply take those two numbers and what? Add them together, which is going to give me 2,300. Okay? So my 21st number would be 2,300, following this pattern. Yeah? Okay, now, what if I asked you to find me what number it would be if t equals something, and now I'm just going to make up a number, so it might be a decimal, but that's fine. You should be fine with that. So t equals, I don't know. Give me a number. Anybody want a number? 52? Okay. Wow, that's a good one because it's going to be funny.
Okay.
Let's do 52. Let's do 5200
Yes.
What?
because it's going to be negative your
Like
way.
usually when we say t equals 5200, they're gonna say if the number of.
Go. You have 1 minute 30 seconds. Same pattern, but t equals 5200. Solve it.
We don't have to divide something. Oh, yes. So using
Divide 21. Divide by 21.
Here's your formula.
So we use the same formula.
Right. Same formula, but t equals 5200.
But we have to
Plus 20.
In order to solve this, we need to rely on our algebra skills because what we have to do is get that n by itself. Now, listen to the way I walk you through it, okay? Is the n by itself now? No. Now remember, so what we're doing is we're solving an equation, which means we're taking it apart. So we're using the order of operations backwards. Excellent. Yeah. So what do I look for first? Addition or subtraction? No, be careful. We're going backward. Going the other way.
I mean,
Addition or subtraction? Is there anything added or subtracted to my n?
yes.
Yes. Okay, hold on. Let me get a volunteer. Poppy. So what is added to my n?
200.
And I'm doing the opposite. So how would I move a plus 200?
Minus 200.
From where?
5200.
From both sides, right? Because over here I need it to subtract away. What's 5200 minus 200, Poppy?
5,000.
5,000. And the 100n won't change. Right?
I know what. Can I do
All right.
that?
No, hold on.
This is me.
Christiana. Okay?
It's never me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's going to be you. All right. Is my n by itself yet? No. What is over there with that n right now? What number is it with the n? Just read it. 100. Good. And if you have 100 and an n stuck together side by side that way with no operation symbol between them, what is it? What is the operation does that mean? It means to multiply, right? So that means 100 times n. Okay?
100 times. Me. Isabella.
Claudia.
Are you kidding? I don't know how to do it.
So
You do.
I've got multiplication. In order to get rid of multiplication, I need to use its opposite. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. And what number am I trying to get rid of?
100.
So I'm simply going to divide by 100. But if I divide that side by 100, what? I have to do the other side. Over here, they'll divide away. Okay? Isabella? There you go. What is 5,000 divided by 100 going to be? Just 50. So my n is 50. So if this was a number of days, for example, it would be 50 days, right? Okay? So you need to be able to go back and forth. You're going to have to be able to find a pattern from a chart and then use that rule in order to be able to answer questions about it. Okay? All right? Yes.
Can we do another one of these?
Absolutely.
Yes. I want to know how to do it perfectly by myself.
Okay? All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to write down the directions for solving an equation.
Why is the last name Self? Because that's what.
Guys,
Yeah, but I just wonder where it came
to solve an equation. Okay, to solve an equation. First of all, you know it's an equation because it has an equal symbol. Because it has an equal symbol, right? Now, to solve means to get the letter
By itself.
completely by itself. Okay? And the operation you'll use, the how, is to do the opposite operation.
Do I have to write this down because I know this one?
No, you don't. This is just kind of a review for those of you who may not have done it in a while. All right? Now, if you're doing the opposite operation, that means you're using the order of operations backwards. So, first step is to add or subtract. And remember, if it's added, what's the opposite of add? So you'd subtract it. If it's subtracted, what's the opposite of subtract? Add. Okay? Second step is to multiply or divide. And you can go ahead and just write divide because you're never going to multiply. Because they're always going to be connected with multiplication. Divide. So, and you can tell you're going to divide because they're connected with multiplication. So if you can tell how two things are put together, what operation is holding two things together, then you're going to know how to take them apart by just simply doing the opposite. Okay? And the key here is do it equally. It's an equation, right? So in other words, to both sides. Right, because they have equal symbols. So you have to do it to both sides. So can I add 5 to one side? Sure, as long as I what? Add 5 to the other side, yeah. Can I divide one side by 3?
Yes.
Sure, as long as I what?
By the other side.
I add the other side by 3. You can do anything you want as long as you do it equally. Okay? Because you've got to maintain the balance. An equation is like a balance. Okay? So let's look at some more patterns. Let me go back to that worksheet and see if we can find some more there that we can look at and use. Okay. This is not the one I want. So let's try another one. It's not going to do it either. So what we'll do is we'll just make some up. Okay. All right. So looking at some patterns, let's say we had t equals, I don't know, somebody give me a pattern. It doesn't really matter, does it? 64 n minus 95. Does it matter? No. All right. So here we go. I want you to solve this when t equals, give me a number, guys. 19? 19. Nova was first, so go. So there we go. Solve it when t equals 19. So I'm going to move that 10 and it's added to it. So how do I move it, Tianye? What's the opposite of add 10? Subtract 10. Good. All right, Bo, but if I subtract it from that side, where else do I have to subtract it? The other side, so it's got to be subtracted from the 3. Over here, it simply subtracts away, leaves you your 25n. But over on this side, what's 3 minus 10 going to give me? Minus 7. Excellent. Okay? Then, Claudia? How is the 25 connected to that n? What operation is connecting these two things?
Times.
Okay, good job. And Caroline, what is the opposite of multiply?
Divide.
So I'm going to divide both sides by what number?
By 25.
25. Over here, the 25s will just divide away, which leaves me my n by itself, which was the whole point. And Poppy, can you give me what negative 7 divided by 25 is going to be?
Negative 0.2.
Good deal. Okay? So you're going to need to know how to find t if you know n, but you also have to know how to find n if you know t.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yes. Now I understand.
Excellent.